Hello everybody, and just here, and welcome back to Symphogear XV episode 4. And I should really stop washing my face before I record because I end up with water stains on my shirt every single time. Regardless, Symphogear. What happened in the previous episode? Quite a lot quantitatively. I'm not sure if a lot importance-wise, though. I'm saying that because a lot has happened in that we had the whole fight of Hibiki with the vampire girl. We had the search for blood. We had Kirika and Shirabe stopping that plan. We had our third villain reveal themselves. We had that whole shebang with Tsubasa's grandfather slash father. Because yes, thank you for reminding me that he's Tsubasa's biological father. As if the situation couldn't get even more fucked up, right? So, a lot happened, but none of that was of, like, super big importance, right? There wasn't anything groundbreaking, there wasn't anything defining, none of that. It very much felt like a bit of a setup episode, right? We have Tsubasa's trauma and kind of like a whatchamacallit, when you go back, something arc, right? She reverted back to how she was, right? I am a sword and all that. Her grandfather certainly doesn't help, constantly berating her. So that was established as something we will have to deal with. The fact that our monster girls need blood, that's another thing that was established. Need very specific kind of blood, and I believe that will become relevant. Another thing that was established, of course, is their relationship inside of that villain clique, right? They treat each other as family, more or less. I'm having a feeling that the cyborg lady might actually be using the other two, right? The kind of a we are family in kind of a like a corporation kind of way, right? Oh, we're family, right? Won't you do that for your family? I saved you, right? So we're family, right? So go get her and stuff like that. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting. We'll see how it progresses. So we have a lot of that kind of stuff, and also that cyborg lady is kind of strong. She managed to stand toe to toe with Kirika and Shirabe, even more. In that, okay, maybe indirect confrontation, she wouldn't be such hot shit. But because she had the hospital hostage, well, that changes things. She has all sorts of EMPs and stuff like that, so it's going to be interesting seeing how our heroes deal with subterfuge. Because they never really had to do that, right? Sure, maybe there were some more minor situations, but usually fighting an enemy was just fighting, right? Punch, punch, slash, slash, and that was the fight. It was very almost like honor bound, right? Like an honor bound duel. We're not going to use pedestrians around for meat shields. We're not going to destroy a hospital, right? It's just me and you, and we're fighting. This time around, it seems like our antagonists don't have quite as much honor. It's going to be interesting. In general, it's interesting in every season how every time a new villain arrives, they somehow become the perfect folly for Hibiki. Right? Hibiki solves things by talking. Well, the villain doesn't want to talk. Hibiki talks anyway and tries to convert the villain. Well, this villain doesn't want to convert, right? It's interesting. It's very interesting. Anything else? Okay, what do I expect from this episode? I don't know. Despite the previous one having established a lot of things, I can't think of anything that would be a full-on continuation from the previous one towards this one. Oh, right, another thing that the previous episode, of course, established is that our antagonists are working with the grumpy old fart. So, yeah, that's also a thing, right? So now the enemy is not only without, but also within. The enemy they have to fight is also directly or indirectly in control of their organization. Which also begs the question, why didn't he just tell the song to stand the fuck down? He could have. He has the authority to do that, but he didn't. I don't know. He's weird, is all I'm gonna say, I think. Okay. In this episode, I don't know what's gonna happen. Probably some fighting, as usual. Probably some drama with Tsubasa. Yeah, that's it. I think we should just start watching episode 4 of Symphogear XV. Do I even need this light? Or is... no, that might look better, but my camera doesn't like it. There's some grain on my beard, I see. Whatever. I always have this light on, so I'm not gonna do it any different this time around. Okay. Symphogear XV, episode 4. You're gonna need your subs to follow along. I'm gonna need my sound to hear what's going on, and I'm also gonna have to ask you for your support. Support the channel if you want monetarily, Patreon or Throne. Links in the description below, and if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, share my content, spread the word, costs you nothing, helps a lot. And with all of that out of the way, we can start watching episode 4 of Symphogear XV in 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, well, straight up an explanation of why they need blood. Okay. And of course they have this bracer. Do you have something in store that can break the link between the user and their Symphogear? Because that's what it sounded like. Although, she could also be referring to the used humans and the user, using the, whatchamacallit, the demigods, the deities. Custodians. Custodians. Could be what she means. Could be that she means Tsubasa's grandfather. Maybe. Yeah, I'm just gonna call him Tsubasa's grandfather. Because she also has a father, right? Genjuro's brother. So it's gonna make things easier. This is probably the best opening of the series, though. That much I can say. I don't know, why would they... Okay, they personally might care about Custodians, but I don't think Tsubasa's grandfather gives a shit. So him sending them to grab him an artifact to stop the Custodians or whatever, he probably wouldn't. He just wants to become a god to punch the US, and that's his goal. Okay, save the world and you're gonna have some time. Yeah, about that. I don't think it's gonna be that easy, I'm afraid. She's gonna say, oh, I'm a sword and swords doesn't sing, or some bullshit like that. Okay, we're straight away addressing that. And she just fucks off. I know the mission, I don't need none of that sappy talk. I am a sword, I'm just gonna train. No, I'm gonna be busy training. Yeah. Predictable. I mean, would be hard not to predict that. Hello, you fuck. And what does it do? Okay. Yep. Makes perfect sense, actually. And what happened? No, it's mine. Same bloodline as Genjuro. Of course you would double cross them. Just a cut was enough to just set that guy on fire. Interesting. And nothing. Oh, I honestly thought nothing's gonna happen. And he's gonna explode. Because he doesn't have the whatever. The what? Is he gonna try to use Tsubasa? And she's back. And what are they attacking exactly? Just a random old building? She almost sounded pitiful. Maria Henshin, okay. Ooh, that's some nice music. Very gentle. And she's dancing with the thing. plenty of those henshins are themed after some sort of a sport, interestingly enough. And her boobs are so powerful to break her own weapon. We got that established. I love this mode. I love this mode of Ergetlam. I'm a sucker for arm cannons. And she has a literal arm cannon. Maybe we can find some dialogue, of course. That's Hibiki. Boob rockets? Boob rockets. Classic. A classic. Okay, interesting. I wonder if it actually is their goal. She said it in a mocking way. But what if it actually is their goal, like deep down? What was the... Oh, okay. Divine Caliber. A lance kind of a thing. I... Honestly, out of all the gears, aesthetically, I probably like Maria's attacks the most. Does Hibiki really... Oh, and she blasts off again. Does Hibiki really seem like someone that would reject and ostracize you? I mean, she stretched out her hand towards every single villain that was there so far. That means I need to reach out to them and make them not feel rejected. How very Hibiki of her. A junkyard? Is that their base of operations? Of course it is. I mean, you have it out for the world, so... Oh, are they trying to double cross the grandpa? They want to somehow leave S.O.N.G some... Oh, they were bugged. Of course they were. By whom, though? That's the question. By S.O.N.G or by the grandpa? Were they trying to use alkanoids to like occlude the Aufwachen waveforms? Modern music. Alternatively, very old music. Okay, so it was S.O.N.G who did that. Good. Okay, they are out there and prepared. Interesting. Okay, Hibiki Henshin. Like, I don't mind, don't get me wrong. But it feels like a chance to give someone else a henshin. I think it's only Tsubasa that hasn't henshined yet. Maybe they're keeping her henshin for like a significant moment. Or maybe she can't henshin. Okay, she can. Immediately. I mean, you can run. Who's stopping you? Simple, you just need to fly. And you did what? Cross beam attack? No. Cube attack. That's new. Some vaguely alchemical symbols on those cubes. They're just trapped in a Tetris world. And now they're in the Matrix. They get fucking pushed to the back rooms. The cube. Okay, they're gonna fight the Minotaur. Conceptual weapon. Okay, we're Indiana Jonesing it. Can Hibiki punch that shockwave away? No, she can't. Did she have those marks on her face before? They didn't have those marks, did they? Are they blood vessels with tainted blood? Probably. You could use a 7th Ranger, couldn't you? Okay, is it Hibiki gathering strength? Or is it the alchemists using some sort of a mental attack? No, it's Hibiki finding her strength. Okay, cool. She's gonna get the gold form. Chrysopia. Chrysopia form? Is that what's going on? Chrysopia? With prehensile scarf? No, the fuck you don't. That's a big explosion, but it ain't no Chrysopia. Chrysopia! The power of Datoshtemo compels you. Did everybody get a Chrysopia form? I think everybody got Chrysopia'd. That's a great visual. Yes! Yes! Big fists! Yes! It's just episode 4. It's only episode 4. Okay, she made a batarang. Ain't gonna do shit. Okay. Jet fist. Okay, so they become glass cannons, essentially. All the armor was turned into purely just weapons. Amalgam, sure. Does she have an infinite supply of butt plugs? Okay, how much blood do you have left, though? No, it's gonna take a couple more than that. I love Hibiki's new form with this huge ass fuck off fists. Yeah, not gonna work. Okay, so that's their goal. Okay, cool. Nope, not gonna work. I just wanna talk. What's going on? Oh, of course, that's what's going on. Of fucking course. Although, I'm glad we're getting into that early. You know? I was afraid it's gonna be some, scheme by Tsubasa's grandfather that continues and continues for the entirety of the series. And then at the end, in the finale, it's revealed, and Tsubasa is like, oh no, my grandfather is evil! Right? But no, it's revealed very early. Good. Good, good. Although, again, it makes me question. There's at least 8 more episodes. 9. What's gonna be in them? It seems like every 2 episodes we have a finale, honestly. Finale every 2 episodes, I swear. I wonder if it's gonna be shuffled around in that our antagonists are actually going to join us and we're going to join forces against the grandfather. That'd be dope. That would be dope. I very quickly got over my belief that they are irredeemable, didn't I? All that was needed is a couple of scenes that humanize them and give them a more or less relatable goal and makes them, you know, makes you empathetic towards them. And 100,000 people? What? What? No. Does it matter? If they say sorry, that's gonna be enough. I changed my tune real fucking quick. Real quick. And now I'm gonna change the view because we're gonna watch this episode again as always. How's that for a segue? No, I was afraid for a moment that I stopped recording, but no, I didn't. It's still recording. Good, good. Right, they want to return to their human bodies. They need some super special blood to be able to use their powers, and it seems like they were turned into monsters against their will. Interestingly enough, although if they were, who did it? And if someone did turn them into monsters against their will, why are they out and about? Could they be one of Adam's experiments? Adam just wanted to turn some humans into monsters for shits and giggles, and as Adam died, they were freed? Perhaps. Actually, let me note it down on the off chance that I am actually correct. Let's see. That's kinda. That's Symphogear XV. New alchemists. New alchemists are Adam's experiments freed when he died. That would be one explanation. Another would be that, well, that they were created by any other branch of the lodge. Didn't necessarily have to be Adam, could be someone else. Perhaps even Tsubasa's grandfather is a member of the lodge. That would be interesting. Old fuck is a member of the lodge. And I'm guessing they agreed to help him in exchange for a promise that he will use his divinity to return them to their original bodies. I think that's what happened. Yeah, using their weaknesses to convince them, to force them, perhaps even, to help him. Interesting. on one hand, we have the issue of they're just soldiers following orders, right? And that's a thing that always stirs up some controversies. Can you use it as a defense for their actions, or can you not? Right? So that's gonna be interesting how they deal with that, how they solve that. Especially her, the vampire girl. They also want to return to their original bodies because they believe they are ostracized by the society. Are they, though? I wonder. It's not like they are that different from regular humans, right? They don't have green skin or what have you. Right? Like, they look perfectly human. Okay, sure, long ears. That would be like the one and only thing. The wolf girl can just hide her ears. She, on the right, whatever her name is, I already forgot, she just looks like a human. Just wear, like, more human clothes and she'll be perfectly human. Right? The joints in her legs can just be covered by a pair of pants. And she's a human and she won't be ostracized. The vampire girl, I don't believe that alchemy can't turn her ears round. For sure. It seems like something so incredibly simple to do. So how much of that is actually being victims and how much of it is like self-victimization, like, you know, punching themselves in the face, proverbially. Very interesting. They are very, very interesting, and I don't know how to best put it into words, but they really work as antagonists for me in that their motivations and everything they are on about is revealed very early. So it contextualizes everything they do immediately in my eyes. Whatever they do from now on, I will have the context for. Previous villains, like Carol, for example, they were just villains doing villainy, but we didn't learn about their motivations, about their goals, about anything until the very end. So that recontextualizes what they did before, but it kind of left me without context early on. It was just villainy for the sake of villainy for all intents and purposes. This time around, it seems like it's going to be interesting. Because on one hand, of course, I cheer for our main characters to win, for sure. But on the other hand, I also cheer for them to return to being human. And I don't want them to die. They are sympathetic. They have successfully been made sympathetic. Early on, I was constantly talking about how they're irredeemable and, oh, I see what you're doing here, you're trying to make them sympathetic, but haha, I'm not going to fall for that. Well, I fucking fell. I feel sympathy towards them. And it's going to be painful when they all die. Because why else would you make characters sympathetic if not to kill them? The one and only case of a villain, group of villains that actually turned the tide were, of course, the FIS girls and Chris early on. From that point on, every single villain just fucking died in a tragic way. Right? Carol had some goals. She wanted to do something cool. Well, something cool. Right? She misunderstood her father. She was hurting over her father's death. Yada, 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 yada. She was sympathetic. In the end, she was made sympathetic, rather, but she died, of course. Cagliostro Prelati and Saint Germain were also sympathetic. We also would like to have them around. They turned around. They even Saint Germain shook hands with Hibiki, and they could have been friends, but they died tragically. Fine died tragically, and I'm afraid they will kill them tragically as well. Probably Tsubasa's father is gonna do that. Or they will sacrifice themselves. Although we had some self-sacrifice in the previous season, so I don't know if they would want to repeat that. We'll see. We'll see. Let's continue because I've been talking a lot of time and we haven't even hit the opening yet. Are going back to HQ, but to tell you the truth, I don't wanna. I wanna go play and have fun like other girls my age. There are 3 other characters who share this sentiment. I see what you did there. Foreshadowing. Very obvious initially foreshadowing, but later on, in retrospect, it's foreshadowing. And they're sure giving us a whole lot of trouble. 3 leaders were much more powerful indeed. So, their hopes live on in our gears. There's no way we can lose. And Tsubasa is like, oh, you're getting sappy. Well, I know all I need to know about the mission. I'm just gonna go train. The sword needs to stay sharp. She really reverted to Season 1 personality, didn't she? Completely and utterly. You simply need to become strong enough to overwhelm them, of course. And of course he's here. We're activating the thingamajig, the bracer. Both alchemy and music are technological systems that strive to find truth within the harmony of the universe. That's actually a super cool idea. I really like the mythology of Symphogear, so to speak. That there's this like primordial power that is harmony and rhythm and melody and all those things, right? Like stars blink in a certain rhythm, everything moves in harmony. There are harmonic waves and forms and all of that everywhere in nature. This is the primordial power. And humanity, to harness it, figured out 2 ways. We could either harness it by attuning ourselves to it, aligning ourselves to that with music, with the sounds we produce, or we could harness it by analyzing it and by creating things that aren't in tune with it, with the natural harmonies, but rather things that create forcefully some harmonies or something like that. That's usually the distinction. Yeah, I really like it. I wonder if that primordial power of harmony is going to see an appearance. Is going to appear. Like 57th henshin for Hibiki, she just becomes the harmony. She just becomes the harmonic waveform itself and attunes herself with the universe to cleanse it of all the filth, bring back to life everybody who died, and punish every sinner, or, stuff like that. I'm completely spitballing here, but wouldn't be the first time Aoi-Yuki's character turned into a god. So there is a precedent, is what I'm trying to say. By the motions of the stars on this day, in this hour, the beat of awakening is here. So they are using naturally occurring phonic gain, essentially. No, you're not gonna touch it. It's mine. Those are the men from before. The men from before. Oh, the agents that they met up with for the exchange behind those, like, dock buildings? I think those are them. Deal with them. And just like that. And the power of divinity is too strong for a mere human. You need to be attuned. Like Symphogear users are attuned to the relics. It's even more crucial when that relic is a fucking god tier relic, right? I don't think any amount of what's the drug they use to increase their synchronization rate? Linker. I don't think any amount of linker would help you be attuned to the relic of the god. Seems the divine power will not let itself be used so easily. And he's just standing in a fire menacingly. I wonder if he's even human. That's actually a question. Adam looked very human. Turns out he wasn't. I wonder. Old fuck is not a human. That would be an interesting revelation. Because that would also mean that Tsubasa has some inhuman bloodline. She's a descendant of the fucking servants of the Custodians or something like that. That would be interesting and that would be relevant. Certainly it would be made relevant. I've already made my next move. Die Spinne Barriere. Whatever that means. This phase is very... like, oh, they got here so fast too. I was hoping they wouldn't. I was hoping that they would maybe not come here and not meet their demise, right? That kind of a feeling like, I don't want to do this to you, but I must. Maybe I'm reading too much in just facial expression. And of course, Maria's henshin. Let's go through it, as we always do. Alchemical, Heart, Lapis Philosophorum, of course. Some really gentle music on the opening. Then it picks up, of course, but early on it was very gentle. And this almost looks like a musical note. Okay. And we're starting the henshin. And just like Shirabe had some figure skating elements, Maria has... that's called... what's it called? There's a name for it. What's the name for that thing? Fuck. Like dancing with a scarf, or I don't know, like they have that like thing and they do all sorts of figures with this like ribbon kind of thing, like ribbon dancing. I don't know, but that's the theme of her henshin. Interestingly, I haven't noticed any sports themes in other henshins. Yeah, that's dancing with the ribbon. Some great smear frames, by the way. I noticed you don't always see smear frames like that and after image frames in Symphogear. But when they are used to a great effect. And she spreads out the hexagons. Yeah, they detach from her multiply and they create her armor in the end. That's a lot of hexagons. No wonder, because they make up the segments of her whip. And individual segments of that whip turn into her armor. Usually it's just hexagons that turn into everything, but in case of Maria, it's hexagons that turned into a whip, and then segments of that whip turn into everything else. Pauldrons, bracers, SGX00 Erget Lam. You can see the like charges inside of it. I really do like mechanical design in this show, but there is something to be said about organic design as well, and that's shown very well with Hibiki's second henshin that she showed in this episode. We're gonna talk about that, of course. And well, shit, didn't want to play it, but yeah, this is essentially the moment almost that I wanted to arrive at. Yep, she spins it around so much she gets tangled herself. And very bondage-y imagery, for sure, but also very profound in a way. Like the imagery of a human like stretched out by ropes or chains and not chained to something, but chained in space to be in the middle of that space. That's very common. And it's very powerful imagery as well. And I guess it kind of symbolizes that she was shackled like that by her own, by being unable to accept her own inadequacies and stuff like that. She had a whole arc about that, right? And she broke those chains with the power of her boobs. They cannot be contained even by a Symphogear. More armor pieces. They don't spend much time for leg pieces, interestingly. A lot of her henshin is spent on that whip and dancing with that whip. Usually all pieces of armor are much more, like, there's much more time devoted to them. Like, in the case of her shoes, it was just disassembled form, assembled form done. Not like pieces flying in and whirling around and stuff like that. Earpiece, system all green, normal operation, and the relic itself, henshins as well. Of course, another impact frame, can't do without that. And the whip turns into a dagger. Swing, swing, swing. Swing, swing, pose. There we go. That was a nice henshin, for sure. This I love. I love Horizon Cannon. As I mentioned time and again, I'm a huge sucker for arm cannons. Like a lance at the front, glowy bits at on the outside of it. I'm a sucker for arm cannons, and I'm a sucker for hard light. And those bits at the end of it look like hard light. And oddly enough, kinda reminds me of Seraphim from Sacred. Seraphims had those like hard light wings on their back and had a very angelic aesthetic, and Maria also has a very angelic aesthetic here. Just came to my mind that Sacred too, just, I know, kind of a weird association, but not Sacred to Sacred in general. There were only 2 games, by the way. Just, it's a shame that they never made Sacred 3. Horizon Cannon. I really do like it. I really do like this attack. And of course, Hibiki coming in hot, punching. I don't want to come to that kind of understanding. Oh boy. I have a wife waiting for me at home. I didn't think we're gonna... Oh no. Don't try to seduce me, lady. And of course, a classic boob rocket. Oh, right, the song. I completely didn't pay attention to the song. I just want to protect the place within my reach. That is all I can do. What's another 1,000 scars? Pain is temporary, so I plunge through with courage. That I was happy just to grasp the happiness in front of me, but the winds of time don't just heal my wounds, the world becomes me with endless possibilities and spurs me on. As long as I have a sky to which I can scream my frustrations, then I can withstand any enemy holding me down. I don't care about losing to my foes, as long as I don't lose to myself, my fire will burn. There's only one reason I can fight instead of run, the comrades I love, my family, the bonds we share, struggling gallantly against the future, turning fears into hope. Though I tremble, I march ever on. Now is the time for me to strike. And strike she did, with a brand new form of Ergetlam. Some weird cross-powered lance, divine caliber. Again, a lot of angelic imagery, almost like feathers, multiple crosses. And she just got hit with a trigger star. Yeah, just Matoi Ryuko having a henshin with all the stars flying around. And crosses aligned in the shape of cross. How much crosses do you want? Yes. And I love how they blink out and in. That's also a cool effect. Boom. Done. And that's the withdrawal. We can't. People reject and ostracize that which is different. And she has a flashbang in her eyes. So she was truthful when in what she said initially. It was said in a mocking way, but there was truth behind that. They genuinely just want to live like humans. Team Rocket's blasting off again. And what do they find here exactly? What is that? I have no clue what that is. It looks vaguely like mining equipment. Like sci-fi kind of mining equipment made by someone who has no clue how mining works. Part of some sort of a machine? Kinda looks vaguely like a Symphogear weapon, but not really. I don't know what it is. And Hibiki now knows what to do. She just needs to outstretch her hand and help them, hopefully. And again, we're supposed to feel sympathetic for them. They lost their hideout. They now need to sleep in a scrapyard. Song will always come after the Alkanoids. And they were tracked, of course. Thankfully. Seems they tried to activate the stolen bracer, and I'm not entirely sure what was the goal of the Alkanoids there. Like, you'd think they'd use the Alkanoids somewhere else to divert their attention. Did they use Alkanoids to mask the Auwachen waveforms? Is that it? That didn't work because they clearly learned that there was something Auwachen going on there, so... Pattern was almost noise again amongst the Alkanoids, yeah. Perform the ritual from behind a powerful barrier, okay. That doesn't explain why the Alkanoids. We observed something else. Some weird whale song. Interesting that Maria recognizes it from somewhere. I wonder where. Something with the flying thing they activated with Ver? Can't remember. That would be like the only thing that comes to mind, right? Some ancient technology using some ancient Aufwachen waveforms or whatever. Oh. Noble Red has taken decisive action. That they did. Hibiki's Henshin, I'm not gonna go through it again because we already did before. Landmines, of course, they're fighting dirty. RHXXOYLE formula. Someone said in the comments to the previous video that it's an actual thing. Let me try to Google it again. XXOYLE. Panacea formula Symphogear Wiki. Some people named like that on TikTok and Twitter. No, there are no references to that. Invitation to Ergodic Theory, page 146 in Google Books. Modern textile characterization methods on Google Books. And the only images I see are from Symphogear XV as well. Yeah, there's absolutely no reference to that in like real world, or maybe I'm missing something. If it's actually like something in real world, go to my Discord. There's a link here in the description as well. Join it, send me a message, ping me or something, because I'm genuinely curious if it's actually a thing or is it just some bullshit anime blood type. Anything interesting that's said there? I wouldn't be able to read it. An empty expiration date is what I can read, and that there is 250 milliliters of it, a quarter of a liter in each. We predicted that too, and they are using some weird cube magic things that places them in a matrix, and they need to run. The accumulated public awareness of millennia of myths, legends, and countless literary works is strong enough to alter reality itself, and let it be so. So it's a conceptual labyrinth, right? A weapon created from people's concept of what a labyrinth is what I'm getting here. This is like the essence of a labyrinth. It is the capital L labyrinth. Cool. I always like play on the theory of egregores, and this seems to be kind of like that. If you haven't heard yet, although I think at least a couple of times I mentioned the theory of egregores, it's essentially a theory of how gods are created, from the branch of theories that it is gods that are created by humans and not the other way around. Essentially, when you believe in something, it kind of comes to be like a tiny little spark. When 10 people believe in it, it has the power of 10 people. When thousands and hundreds of thousands of people believe in it, it grows in power, and eventually it grows so powerful as to gain a conscience and become a god. That's the long and short of the theory of egregores. This is kind of similar, right? Many people believe in the concept of a labyrinth, or rather, not believe, they just know the concept of a labyrinth, and from that concept, the physical manifestation of it is born. Cool. I really do like it. We three so-called monsters have created a conceptual labyrinth over 380,000 kilometers long. Well, it clearly wasn't long enough for them to get lost enough to not encounter each other. So why give it so much length if it could just have been like 6 straight corridors and it would have the same effect? Did you just want to show off? I don't know. And they get blasted by the shockwave. And those markings, I think those are like veins with tainted blood. Maybe, I'm not sure, because all of them have it. Meeting with Saint-Germain. Whoa, who is it who defeated you? I lost to myself. I just need to believe in myself. I just need to say Dato Shitemo, and it's going to work. I was defeated by myself. That means I'm stronger than myself, so I can also defeat myself. Instead of defeating myself, I can defeat myself. Right? Change of the mindset. Dato Shitemo, and they were saved. Those aren't the under costumes of their Symphogear. They have golden bits and a floral pattern on the chest. I think all of them got henshined with Hibiki's power, although correct me if I'm wrong. Because if they did get all henshined with Hibiki's power to essentially become glass cannons, just like Hibiki did, why aren't they taking part in the combat? I don't know. I really like the floral pattern on her hand. They lent us this power. Whatever we face, we jump right in and smash it one. We don't hold back. That's an amazing impact frame. Holy shit. We don't hold back, we give them all we have. And also, I mentioned organic design. Symphogears usually have very angular and mechanical, technological design. This form has a lot of organic, right? Everything is like smooth, it's flowering, sprouting up. You don't see the pipes and the cables and the wires and the joints, right? It's almost like it's liquid metal. Now here you see some angularity, but even then it's not like really technological. It reminds me of that I can't remember what it was called, but the fortress that the FIS there tried to rise and raised. It also had those sorts of like patterns on it, right? Didn't it? Or am I going crazy? I think it did, but they were made of like bricks and stuff. This is just layers of petals of gold. Sure, there's some joints and stuff, but it's like bullshit technology, right? It's not technology with wires and pipes and shit. It's bullshit technology with nanomachines and autocratic plates that merge together to create a weapon or, some other mumbo jumbo. And I love the heart in the middle of her hand. That's great. I love this form. I really do. And of course, an amazing impact frame and golden petals everywhere. And with the power of Saint-Germain on her side, she will defeat everything. Each of us has a different sense of justice when hardship filled with your life. We fought against it, and I can feel that together we will let them feel our iron hammer of infinite love. Yeah, Hibiki is just bouncing those attacks as if they were nothing. I love this. Grabbed by the tail and just jettisoned her arm to just get her out of here. That's great. Open it, hold my hand sometimes. Each of us has different beliefs, shaking hands. Okay, there were bits of explanation. And by using most of their energy for attacks, they become unbeatable. Okay, yeah. Okay, so essentially glass cannon mode. And I'm assuming she has some sort of a fabricator thing in that suitcase that can create an infinite amount of butt plugs for her. There's no way in hell we're gonna run away. Well, you should have, honestly. And she takes the form of a Beyblade. They really like Beyblade attacks in Symphogear, don't they? But of course, Hibiki can just punch it away. Because why wouldn't she? One more hit. Yeah, you're not gonna get one more hit in. You're gonna get hit. Is what's gonna happen. Just like that. Yeah, it really reinforces the fact that the new alchemists are of absolutely no match for Hibiki alone, let alone the rest of S.O.N.G, should they fight with her. And we have the goal, so we can use it to return to our human bodies. Now scream at the heavens and punch through the impossible. Honestly, Hibiki could probably punch you back into being human. But Hibiki, it's impossible. Dato Shitemo! Punch, and they just turn into humans. Wouldn't surprise me, honestly. And of course, stopped just about short to talk. To stretch out that hand. But you said you wanted to be friends. Yeah, and I'm willing to be friends. Shake my hand and become friends. And she starts believing in it. She's shaken. She's gonna start questioning. 100%. She's gonna start questioning. Can we actually? She's kind of like Saint Germain in that regard. Can we actually? What is she gonna do with that questioning, though? That's the question. And of course, Japanese government told them to stand back because everybody's held at gunpoint. I wonder what kind of a bullshit excuse will the old fuck find for doing that. I don't know. Are those soldiers distinct in any way? Just a random thought, but blue helmets usually mean the UN, but I don't think UN would get involved in it. Unless old fuck has UN in his pocket, which would not surprise me. And yeah, fucking politics. That's all I have to say about it. Fucking politics. You wanna fight, you wanna punch people in the face. Fucking politicians and their politics and their inter-country relationships. I can just punch Barack Obama in the face and fix it. Was Barack Obama president when it was coming out? I think he might. I don't know. I'm just randomly. That's like the first US president that comes to my mind. I'm not from the US, if you didn't know. Frustrated is what I am at the ending. Not in a bad way. Not that it. Okay, maybe. ending, nothing after credits. This view, there we go. Okay, let me elaborate. I'm frustrated at the ending, but not in a bad way, where the execution of it would frustrate me. Cliffhanger, Symphogear is Cliffhanger City. We all got used to that by now. But it frustrates me because shit like that, politics like that, always frustrate me. Right? An order to stop doing what you're doing and pull out. This is the singular most frustrating thing in any media ever. I fucking hated when it happened in Gate, or rather, I hated the reason for it. I didn't hate the situation, the scene, and all that, right? Because it was all justified and all. But I hated that event. I hate this event here. And every time something like that happens in media, I fucking loathe it. I honestly do. And whoever made that order just deserves to be punched in the face by Hibiki until nothing is left but red mist in the air. And then just spread that mist with Tsubasa's whirling swords or whatever. Fucking politics. What else about this episode? It feels fast but not rushed. Rather, the whole season feels fast but not rushed. I was kind of joking about there being a finale every second episode, but it honestly kind of feels like that. It honestly kind of feels like that. Like by episode 6, all of those threads will be closed. The new alchemists are going to join us. Tsubasa's grandfather will turn into red mist, and now we're going to have to fight the custodians, right? It's almost as if 2 seasons were squeezed into one. Kind of sort of how it feels, which is odd because they had 2 seasons of time to pace it, but it doesn't feel bad pacing wise. That's interesting. It feels fast, but doesn't feel rushed. Yeah, it feels fast, but not rushed. I wonder what creates that feeling that so much is going on in such short amount of time, and yet everything has just enough time on screen to get proper explanation and proper everything. I think what might contribute to the feeling is that things are being placed on the table face up much earlier than usual, right? We learn about the motivations of the new alchemists very early. We learn who the true villain is very early. We learn about their true goals very early. We get the betrayal of the true villain very early, right? Something that usually would take a lot of time, but if you were to place it in the time slot on the timeline, it wouldn't be at the end. What I'm trying to say, we learned about Carol's motivations very late, but she had those motivations right from the get-go. In this case, they have those motivations right from the get-go. Nothing changes in that. We simply learn about them earlier, right? And that makes creates that much more brisk pace of learning things. I genuinely wonder, though, how are they going to fill up all 12 or 13 episodes? And how much more hype can they get? Because it's episode 4 and Hibiki already got what I would assume is the ultimate form. Right? Like, the only form more ultimate than that would be their their suicide song combined Aufwachen kind of a form, or the big pair of hands that they used to destroy the library of Babylonia, right? Those would be forms and events more powerful than that. But I think that also contributes to the feeling of a brisk pace. Usually, when they would get some second henshin, it would be at the end to deal with some boss. This time around, it's fairly early, interestingly enough. Yeah, I honestly wonder how are we going to feel the rest of this season. Assuming it is actually the last season of Symphogear as a whole, they will need to deal with the threat of the Custodians. So I'm assuming first half of this season is going to deal with political bullshit, and the latter half is going to deal with the threat of the Custodians. More or less, plus minus 1 or 2 episodes in either direction. That was a good that was a good episode. That was a good episode. Some amazing visuals, both on Hibiki and on Maria. Some really appreciated reveals, and actually a very cool cliffhanger. I'm gonna say it. I don't mind this cliffhanger whatsoever. It was fine. Or maybe it's just Symphogear that conditioned me to accept cliffhangers like that. I don't know. Either way, I liked it. I honestly don't have any criticism for this episode. It was all good. Period. That's that. But maybe you guys do. Maybe you have something to say about this episode, about my reaction, about my theories, stuff like that. No spoilers, please, I beg of you. If you do have something to say so in the comments down below. What did you think of this episode, my reaction, stuff like that? If you do want to talk spoilers, Discord, already mentioned, it's here, also linked in the description below. There's an invite, click it, join the Discord, and you can talk Symphogear spoilers in the Symphogear channel, and I'm not gonna read them. Simple as. Like this video if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it, but tell me why so I can improve. Subscribe to the channel to be notified of future releases of not only Symphogear XV, but also Oyukumi no Kaina, Benderia Saito-san Isekai ni Iku, and other shows that I'm going to be watching in the future. Hopefully, I'm going to find the time. And what's next? Subscribe, support. I also stream sometimes, so if you want to be notified when I go live, click the bell and you're going to get notified. Maybe. I don't know, YouTube is weird about that. Support the channel if you want monetarily on Patreon or Throne. Patreon is here and also in the description below. For $10 a month on Patreon, you get early access to non-seasonal shows like Symphogear, Madoka Magic, and others. And for just $1 a month, you get a role on the Discord and a place in the credits. And on Throne, you can pitch indirectly towards my purchase of better gear, better software, stuff like that. And if you don't want to spend any money whatsoever, share my content, spread the word. It costs you absolutely nothing and helps the channel an awful lot, believe you me. And now, with all of that out of the way, that's gonna be it from me for today. So as always, you guys do all the good stuff, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Cheers! And here's the outro, and here's my beautiful, beautiful Patreons. And you can be one of them, and you don't need to use alchemy to achieve that.